Welcome to Human Potential at Work, the show where we explore social impact, inclusion, and empowerment of everyone, including persons with disabilities. Get ready to be inspired, hear success stories, and learn tips and principles for bringing out the best in everyone.
Hello, everyone. This is Debra, and this is Human Potential at Work. Today, I was supposed to be in Ireland, and I was really looking forward to going to Ireland, to Dublin, to really see what they're doing with Dublin Hack Access. And we were going to have Janice on the program today anyway, but as many of you know, my daughter's very sick, and prayers are still welcome. She's navigating it, but it's still pretty scary situation and very painful for my poor little baby girl. So she might be 31, but she's always my little girl, right, Janice? So Janice and I become good friends over the years, and we were. I'm really excited about what they're doing in Dublin, and I believe that this is something that we can all learn from. We can all learn from what they're doing in Dublin. So it's very exciting. Once again, so sorry that I'm going to miss it, Janice, but before we really dig into what you're doing in Dublin, that's so smart and clever. Let's talk a little bit about who you are, Janice. So give us a little, tell us a little bit more about who you are, Janice.
Well, it's so funny you say, recently I was out to dinner with an old girlfriend, and I said something, one of my friends said, really didn't expect you to say that. You're like an onion. There's lots of different layers. So I was like, yeah, that's true. So I'll pick one layer that's as most relevant. I think really the thing is about me, I've been working in a certain capacity for nearly 20 years, working in large corporate organizations. Then about 8 years ago, I lost my brother who had muscular dystrophy. And I think it was a turning point, as these things are. I really started to see my life differently. I'm someone who's really likes to enjoy herself and very adventurous, love to travel. So fun has always been really important to me. But so has, doing a good job at work, pushing myself. But I never really found that thing that engaged me, that I believed I could put myself wholehearted and whole-brained into. And when my brother passed away, I guess I was living in London, and it was a pivotal point in that I thought, I want more meaning and purpose. I want to do something more, right, with my life, with work. So ended up coming home, and all kinds of stuff happened. And I guess over the few years that followed, I qualified as a coach, decided that I wanted to be able to help people get through difficult things like I did. Wasn't sure what kind of coaching I wanted to do. So simultaneously, I immersed myself in Dublin startup community. And I did that because I knew I wanted to change. I had read an article about entrepreneurship and startup community in Dublin, and I thought, it was a feeling of like, these are people that I want to be around. I want to kind of learn how I can maybe I can set up a business and do the kind of work that I want to do without, relying on getting a job that would allow me to make an impact. So within a few years, I basically had the idea for a hackathon. So, as you know, anyone who's out in the startup community, generally they'll go to loads of events. The hackathon will probably be one of the kinds of events that you go to. My first event I attended was in Google. And I really was struck by the energy in the room and the intelligence, but this kind of sense of get up and go, right? And I loved that. And literally there I thought, God, it would be really, really cool to focus all of this energy and talent and skill on something like disability. So the reason I had that thought is because my brother was really interested in technology, and we used to talk sometimes. What mattered to me most was him having a really, I guess, achieving potential, but also engaging himself and living as full a life as possible. And anytime I saw maybe his motivation dip, I used to think, so, I'll set up a business and you can do the tech stuff, and he was, oh yeah, that's cool. So I guess setting up a business was always a distant goal. So anyway, I kind of had linked his challenges with tech and entrepreneurship. So it's no surprise that I did think of him when I'm sitting there. And so that was where the idea came, and it took about a year to develop it and to have the courage to talk about it to people. And by that time, I think it's good that I had built up a pretty good network. I knew people, and I could say, hey, I have this idea. What do you think? And funny, everyone I talked to all had the same reaction. It was like, yeah, really good. But then it was like, that's going to take some time. Like, everybody's so busy, as you know, in the startup community.
Right.
So, but all I cared about, do you think this would be a good idea? Do you think it would work? And if I got that yes, that support, then I was like a dog looking for a bone that year. And managed to get a venue and a sponsor, and the rest is history. And so that's the story of Hack Access Dublin, and I suppose the story of me in tandem with it.
Yes, and the Hack Access Dublin starts this weekend.
Yes.
And once again, I'm so bummed not to be there, but mother first. And I will certainly be there on social media supporting y'all and everything else. And I hope everybody will join us and tweet and post and really help them turn up the volume. And we'll talk about the hashtags and everything. There's a lot of hackathons that happen all over the world, but I like this one because it's about, accessibility and disability inclusion. So this is the second year.
Third
is
year.
that correct? All right, cool. This is the third year. So, and I know it grows year after year, and you're always looking for corporate sponsors at this point, too late to do corporate sponsorship for tomorrow. Well, maybe not, but the big sponsors for next year, come and let them know it's happening in Ireland, but this is capturing the world's attention. This is really beautiful stories. And I also, I co-host Access Chat, some of y'all know, with Antonio Santos and Neil Milliken, and they're both there. So I'm also going to miss getting to see them, and I get to miss Caroline Casey, but it's not about me. Stop, Debra. So, but there's some really, really cool things happening there. So tell us about the first year versus the second versus what we can expect for this year. And I know that's a big question. So let me start with, tell us a little bit about the first year, and then we'll go to the second and what you expect from this year.
Well, the first year, it's funny, I'm just writing my kind of speech for tomorrow, and it's allowing me to reflect back on the first year and where we are now. First year, really, for me, it was an experiment, and the great thing was that I had the support, which was amazing. Smart Dublin, Nissan Ireland were the sponsors. Again, the people in the startup community, influential, were there. But the main thing, people actually attended, which was great. We had about 45, 50 participants. And for me, the most important thing is that I got the right kind of people, and they engaged throughout the whole weekend. And some of those are still with me now, with the volunteer team and with the Hack Access community meetup that we launched back in February. So that was the most important thing for me. Look, you can get the support, you get the framework, okay, great, but it's nothing without the talent. And we got that. And some of the solutions were really good, but I think what we built on the following year was that support, getting better mentors, getting a better flow of the actual event, how people are, I guess, looked after, and how the mentoring works. That worked a lot better. And really notice an improvement on the solutions the second year. Some really, really great feedback. And I met Debra, we had you as one of the mentors. And that's really great for people who are, really wanting to make a living out of this. And I think it's good that you can feel like you can make a living doing this great work, because otherwise, how is it going to get done?
Right.
And that's where, for me, the sponsorship element, Dublin City Council came on board this year as a sponsor, which is amazing. And I'm very interested to see how they will support some of the teams and their solutions. Next year, again, it's an unknown. We don't know what solutions are going to come up, but we have that support in place should relevant solutions occur. But the thing which would be great on this year would be to have that support, because what I learned from last year, the teams did engage. The winning team, actually three of the teams, were still developing their ideas in the few months that passed. And even I spoke to one yesterday, this week, and the feeling I get is that had there been more support for them after, they would have stuck with it, whether or not they want to create a business themselves or work in partnership with an organization. I think what it's proved is that people are willing to put in the effort to stay with their ideas. But without that support, we can only not work,
Right.
spend our time on something for a certain amount of time,
Right.
And
Right.
I think, if a team shows that they are keen to develop through the proof of concept stage, they should be rewarded through the next stage, with a bit of funding that would allow them to focus their time on developing that idea. So I think that's, first year, the win is people actually turned up, more people turned up the second year, and we did better in managing the event in a more robust way. And this year, I'm really excited to see what happens with the additional sponsors that we have, Dublin City Council, and now we have the Centre of Excellence in Universal Design and National Disability Authority. So we're showing that we're getting more support. And that helps us run a better event and have that stakeholder engagement. Now, what we do need, I think, what would take it to the next level and allow me to focus more of my time, is that sponsor who really believes in what we're doing,
I agree. It would be nice to see some corporate brands really step up and sponsor this.
Yeah.
One thing we hear about hackathons, and we love the hackathons, but that is, afterwards, so some of these amazing ideas never come to fruition. And by the way, that is just the sort of the nature of the beast anyway. And to me, I'm very interested in entrepreneurship as a whole, but certainly as a way to make sure that people with disabilities can find meaningful work. And a lot of, I think it's a very important thing. And so let's talk a little bit about what to expect this weekend. So you have teams, and how is it going to unfold? Just tell the audience a little bit about those of us that can't be there, tell us what's going to happen. I was I was so excited about coming, and the energy. I knew the energy was going to be amazing because
it is. It's
just people finding their purpose and making a difference and wanting to make the world a better place. That's where I like to live.
Me too. And at the moment, of course, I'm just kind of like ticking all the final boxes, getting myself prepared. But really, I mean, it kicks off tomorrow evening with a kind of, ceremonial launch and talks, just to get people prepared, but also give them context around, because a lot of people will see hackathon and and they like the sound, but they don't give themselves time maybe to really, really research in depth what we're all about. So it's important that we set the tone and create the right context, and our sponsors talk about what this means to the city and disability people organizations, and organizations who are fostering a much more inclusive and universal approach to design and engineering technology. So people come and they hear these talks, so then they get a really good idea of what we're all about. And then we have an immersion panel. So it's really important to me that it's not just a lot of talk about inspiring people and how far we've come and the vision. That's important, but really what is the facts about the being disabled, the hard cold facts, which is important that we don't ignore. So we have a group of people who will be talking about their experience, specific experience of, just using the footpaths, like very practical things like navigating their way around the city, socializing in the city, finding information, and using transport. So there basically are 4 challenge categories: transport challenge, data challenge, social challenge, and streetscape challenge. So yeah, that allows our participants to really immerse themselves in the challenges. And then after that, we have facilitated ideation. So we recognize that our approaches might be a bit different in that we do have a lot more controls in place to make sure that the participants are guided in the right direction. Because as you know, Deborah, I mean, disability is such a complex and complicated issue. It involves so many factors and strands, and it does involve a very systematic approach, right? And sometimes people can be right, here's the problem, whatever. However, there's something over there and there that might impact it. So it's having the support to guide by expert kind of design thinkers who have been involved since the first year, which is great. It's really showing the strength of our community. So they will be working with 8 groups. So there's 4 challenges, 8 groups, which is different this year. We had 6 groups last year and 6 challenges. So we have kind of enhanced the feeling of competition, which is always a good thing, healthy. So that happens for half an hour, and then teams form. What happened last year, teams did actually stay in their groups. I think people really, they let go of their own personal ambition and their own egos, and for the sake of, I guess, the collective ambition to solve challenges, they realize that, they're stronger in that particular group who has been supported along the way. So that was really positive, and I expect the same thing to happen. So the groups will form, and then they'll kind of get their plan from about 7:30 to 8, and then they'll go home, or they might go off for a drink. I probably will take a few guests off just to, because for me the Friday is the most important thing. It's like, who's going to turn up, and it's the foundation really. So when that's over, I kind of breathe a little sigh of relief, and then I, basically the participants come in on Saturday and just get stuck in. They will go out and do a bit of field research, depending of course on the actual challenge. They will have mentoring from 1:30 to 3, and then again the second phase is more working, called 2 maker sessions. And then Sunday they'll come in again and they'll kind of get everything together, tie up all those loose strands and start working on their pitches. And I'm actually going to be doing the pitch coaching this year. For Great Life Distillery, I've created this kind of model, a purpose pitch, purpose coaching. So it's really to support them really tell their story and to express, the purpose behind the idea, which, as you know, all successful people who pitch in competitions, it's you engage through the storytelling and through that expressing that purpose, and then all the technical aspects kind of fall in behind that. And at this stage, there's only so much you can do in a hackathon. So for me, it's more important that they really get as much comprehension around the challenge, and understand it, and kind of get a high level solution. And if that seems, worthy enough, then the judges can, make that call on whose solution has the most merit, but the most potential to be developed. So yeah, the pitch coaching happens, and then the pitch will happen at 4, and then winner is announced at 6, and that's it for another year.
But it's not exactly it, because I know last year, being one of your mentors, we went on with the winners, and I know that I had a couple of conversations with the team that I was assigned to, which was, they were just so excited about their idea, and I loved the passion. And as a seasoned entrepreneur myself, that has made every single mistake in the book, and also had successes. I've had a lot of successes too. you,
Yeah.
but it was very interesting being able to mentor them and talk to them about
Mhm.
what they're doing and what they just really putting some reality into the conversation, because you can go a long way, as I did. You can go a really long way with just the enthusiasm and knowing you're going to make a difference. But
Mhm.
there's just so many rat holes along the way where you can stumble and fall down.
Yeah.
Um, and I just have made so many mistakes through my entrepreneurial walk, that I love mentoring new entrepreneurs, because I can guide them and tell them things um, about my own walk, and they can decide how valuable that is to
Yeah.
them. And so, so to tell us a little bit about the some of the others that are helping you, because I know that just off the top of my head, I know you have, Antonio Santos, who is my partner on Access Chat, and I love him to death, and I know you do as well. And
Yeah.
David Pollard. I know some of the names, but let's talk about some of the people that are in the circle that are helping you, and then also then maybe move and talk a little bit more about the mentors that are helping.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. David is a great co-organizer. So yeah, he's great at. I suppose really, you can see people's strengths. Like I would consider myself a good planner. I'm very good one-to-one. He's out there. He's got a huge network. I mean, my network is pretty good, but with coming, developing Hack Access, I've kind of taken my research and to make sure, I guess, it's orchestrated in a way that is aligned to the challenges. And I love that. And David is really great, as we say. He's kind of like the business development. He opens up the deals and the sponsorship, and then I close it. So it works really well, and it's a really good partnership. And of course, yeah, Antonio and the Access Chat, I should mention them. So they would be a media partner. And yeah, I consider Antonio, he's what I like about Antonio. He's such a calm presence, and I feel like
Oh,
I talk to him.
and
I'm,
he's so
I'm
smart.
full
He's so
of
smart.
emotion. And he's really great. Yeah, I really have so much respect for him, and he's good at steering. But at the same time, I feel like there's real alignment between us in terms of how we see the success of this. What we need to do to achieve success, which is really really great. So there's a lot of trust there. Which is so, for me, it's so important. Um, yeah. So yeah, we some of the guys who have been kind of helping and part of the community team. There's Alan Weldon, who actually works in Trinity, but I guess this is kind of like his side project help, and he won the first year. Even today, he's texting me, can I do anything to help? I think that's just so, and kind of there. I think as well. I think people know me. Obviously, it is a bit stressful. You're coming into this Friday and you just want it to be as good as it can be. So you need people around you who are very calm souls, and these guys are. He's one of them. And we have another person. There's Sumer Jagda. I'm probably not saying his last name right, but he was again from one of the teams that won the data challenge last year. Again, he's a member of the community team, and it's great because he is newly graduated, so he's got that in with all the students, which is really good, the young people. So that's great. And again, very supportive. He'll be there tomorrow. Darren Rooney was in the winning team last year. Like, these aren't necessarily people who would yet be out there and have a big following, but they're certainly, I'd say it's like watch this space, because I think he's now, so he's an engineer slash design, or design engineer. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, but he loved the experience last year so much that he has actually set up a business design focus for disabled people. So again, he's taken this on board, and this is one of the things I really wanted to see. People like him embrace these challenges and create businesses around them to solve them. So that's such a great thing for me to see. So yeah, there are a few of the people. I could go
And
on.
I know that you, right, and I know you can go on because you've got it's a really amazing team.
It
And
really is. Yeah.
many of these people are people themselves with disabilities,
Mhm.
and certainly people that have been touched by disabilities in their
Yeah,
lives.
absolutely.
And so I think it's such a wonderful idea to focus on access for all, really focusing on, how do we make things accessible? Because when things are accessible for people with disabilities, they're actually more accessible to people without
Oh
disabilities,
yeah,
which is what's
absolutely.
beautiful about it. And we find a lot of ideas that come out with something to make something accessible or inclusive
Yeah,
for people with disabilities are very innovative, and I just love it. And I know that we've talked just a little bit about maybe in the future expanding this to other, countries
oh
as
yeah.
well.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the big vision, and I have had chats with different regions during the year, and I think the same challenge is that it's very much a case of there might be the will, but to have that support is important. But that takes a bit of time to get, so you never know next year. But it's certain I see the real. I can see the opportunity. I mean, it's all about cities, right? So
right.
Hack Access Toronto, Hack Access Dubai, Hack
Right.
Access London. I mean, I can see the value in those in terms of sharing, like operating as one kind of community, and then tapping into what other countries have done, their lessons learned, and sharing resources. And really, because the research that I've done, it's basically says that this is a global issue. No one country, maybe some of the Scandinavian countries, but no one country is on top of this issue in a way that
I
they should.
agree. I agree. I agree. I
So
don't think any of them are. Some are better at certain
yeah,
things than others.
exactly. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I know in the United States, we've done a really good job at some aspects of this,
exactly. Yeah.
assuring that people have rights, assuring
Mhm.
that we expect if I'm a person with a disability, what do you mean I can't eat in your restaurant? I mean, there's some things we've done well, but there's some things like with employment, we have a lot of work to do. And I think once again, really supporting entrepreneurs with disabilities. I think that, we're seeing some cool things come out of Spain with that and others, but there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And but it's exciting watching it. And I hope I know that there's certain really good corporate brands like Google
Oh,
and
Google, of course.
Microsoft and even IBM that are being very supportive of hackathons all over the world.
Mhm.
And so I'm hoping that, a really big multinational brand might really, pay attention to what's happening in Dublin with, this hackathon focused on accessibility and want to really say, wow, this is getting some legs here. I
Yeah.
wonder what we could do to help in Dublin, but also help them take it throughout
Yeah.
the rest of the world. And
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
corporate brands are looking for things to invest in that
Mhm.
prove that they're engaged with communities. And
Yeah.
this is a community effort happening in Dublin.
Well, yeah. And the thing what extra help would give, well, personally, and the brand is the ability to do more, to
Right.
make more of these partnerships, and to really get out there in the community. I mean, one thing for me, I'm relying on my network and the people who are invested in this to take the message out and what's happening to their communities.
Right. Right.
But being one of the things I tried to do last year, I obviously knowing my brother's situation, it would have meant so much if I could have supported him to be part of a business or set up his own business. And I think maybe, I don't know, I am the eldest daughter I have it in me that I love making things happen for other, like helping and seeing somebody kind of grow, and being part of that growth and helping it. So one thing I would love to do with the Hack Access would be to run workshops for people who have disabilities, and to help build the confidence and
Right.
the necessary, I guess, personal attributes and skills, soft skills, that are required to get out there in the startup community. Because yes, it's tough,
It is. It's tough for
Um,
everybody, but even more tough,
when you,
especially,
yeah,
yeah, especially if you're a person with a disability that has communications issues. I mean, this situation with my daughter who has Down syndrome,
mm,
um, it's an unfortunate, horrible situation we're in, but communications has what has gotten in the way because my daughter has been telling us for a year that she's been in pain and she's been explaining it to us the best way she can. And how she would explain it to us is that she was pregnant and the baby was moving. Well, I knew that my daughter wasn't pregnant. I knew she wasn't pregnant, but her description was actually very accurate because her intestines and bowels are swollen and did this blood clot. And so it's actually very, very descriptive. But I, I didn't know. I told her last night, it's almost sometimes like we're speaking different languages. And she said, "What language am I speaking, Mom?" And I said, "I think you speak princess language because but it's like I'm thinking about, and then Rosemary Musacchio, who is our chief accessibility officer, she was born with cerebral palsy and she cannot verbalize in the traditional way, but she has a lot to say. So
oh yeah,
I think of individuals like your brother and my daughter and others that they have a lot to say. If we would just, make it easier for people to listen, and we can listen in a lot of different ways. Even if we can't hear, can we can learn and listen from each other. So I think that's why things like the Dublin Hack Access, it's just so important. It gives people, it helps them find their purpose. It helps people find, things that they can do to contribute to society. It allows the community leaders to get engaged.
the
It
facilitation
allows,
tool, yeah.
yeah, it's very, very, I think that part, I think this is part of the future. So let's tell people how, I don't know if you are streaming any of this live, but I know it's going to be all over the internet.
Yeah.
So tell the audience how they, what are the hashtags? How can
The
they, uh,
hashtags. I'm just making sure that I have, yeah, because I have someone looking after social media. As you know, it's so
yes,
funny what you forget. Okay, so first of all, the hashtag for Hack Access Dub, it's HACK, Hack Access Dub. So that's the Twitter hashtag. And pretty much, yeah, if you use that and the hashtag on any social media, you'll be able to find us on Instagram, mainly Twitter, and some
right.
Facebook coverage. And if you want to get in touch with me, it's at Janice Valentine. And if anybody has any comments or want to get involved, or if you're from a different city and you'd love to learn, how could you maybe join in? Certainly reach out to me and I'd be delighted to have a chat. One thing I have started after the last hackathon to develop and write a playbook. So make that available to people who want to organize their own hack access events in their
Right.
own, to make sure
And,
there's a
and
consistent approach to the
And
planning.
make sure you can also track access chat, AXS chat. We're going to be heavily
Mm-hmm.
tweeting. Once again,
Yeah,
Atos was a small sponsor, and Neil Millikins in Ireland, and
yeah,
Antonio's there. And also, if there are any corporate sponsors that are interested in this, I say in my book, Inclusion Branding, that you must be involved at a community level, engage with us. This is a way to engage in Dublin and other places. And this is one way to engage with our community. And this is a way your employees can come and engage with our community by being
absolutely.
part of it and volunteering. And
Yeah,
there's so much that can be done. And
yeah,
so don't just look at this and decide this is too small, because this is actually grassroots and we're
correct.
behind this. Our community's behind this, which is why I wanted to talk about it. I just really believe in what you are doing. And next year, my daughter and I are going to be there. I'm sorry we couldn't be there this year, but that's okay. Sarah has lost 30 pounds in a week. I
Wow.
do not recommend this diet to anyone. Um, but she's going to be healthier from it after we get through this really acute stage.
That's a really
But
positive way to look at it. It's yeah,
yeah, and I'm always the silver lining kind of girl, but
yeah,
this has stomped us pretty hard. So
I can imagine.
anyway, I also want to say that I am wearing purple today in honor of Purple Light Up, which is December 3rd, which is going to celebrate the accomplishments that people with disabilities are providing to the world every day, going right directly back to what they're doing here with Hack Access. And I always want to thank My Clear Text for captioning. We have Elaine McCarthy behind the scenes, making sure that we are fully accessible, which is really important. Let's all walk the walk. Everything has to be accessible. We do transcriptions, and special thanks to Doug Forrest, my producer. But is there a website that people can visit, Janice?
Absolutely. Of course. So it's
Sorry.
hackaccessdublin.ie. Yeah. Hack Access Dublin, all one word. Yeah.
hackaccessdublin.ie. Good.
Yeah, videos and
Yep.
blogs written throughout the year, and details of our community event will be on it as well. So
Yes.
David
And
to thank. I volunteer from the first hackathon to thank for helping us develop and maintain the website, which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and we appreciate your leadership, Janice. We really appreciate your leadership and the team that is behind you. And I know your brother is helping you from, where he is now. His spirit is there, helping and really applauding and appreciating what you've done. And I don't think we can go wrong by loving people. So we really appreciate what you're doing, and we wish you great, great, great success. I can feel the energy coming from Ireland all the way over here in the States. And we are just very, very proud of the efforts that you're making over there. So
I really appreciate your support, Debra, and I obviously admire your what you've done as well. You're way down the line. I'm like, oh wow, it's impressive. And your story as well, and how you got started. So
it's all about making a difference in the world, and showing that everybody can add value. So thank you so much, Janice. And we look forward to watching and contributing and applauding the efforts that are going to be happening in Dublin this weekend. So thank you. And thanks for everybody for watching today. We appreciate your support. And if, definitely you want to be a sponsor, you want to, bring this to your part of the world, you want to participate, get in touch with me or with Janice, or join us on the hashtag, and we all can make the world a better place together. So thank you so much, Janice. Bye, everyone.
bye.